In 1789, upon Mary Washington's death, Congress authorized the wearing of black crepe armbands as a sign of respect. As early as 1826, there was a public desire for a monument to Mary Washington, the mother of our nation's first president. George Washington had ordered a memorial stone for his mother, but years later, relic hunters had caused enough damage to warrant its replacement. In 1833, the cornerstone of a monument, the precursor to today's monument, was laid. However, 4 years later, little progress had been made towards its completion. The base was laid, but the shaft lay on its side. Years of damage inflicted by the Civil War and relic hunters made salvage impossible. The monument concept was resurrected in the 1890s when two women's groups, one national and one local, worked together to honor Mary Washington with a newly designed monument. In 1893, the cornerstone was laid. In May of 1894, amid great fanfare, the monument that we can see today was dedicated. It is widely considered to be the first monument funded and erected by women for a woman. In the years that followed, the two organizations that originally worked so harmoniously to build the monument differed on the management and maintenance of the property. In 1966, they agreed to deed the monument and its environs to the city in an effort to best provide for its care. In recent years, city leaders considered a similar question. Who would be the best stewards to care for this respected property and to launch a new era of relevance to tell its amazing story to future generations? Over the past many months, Washington Heritage Museums has engaged with city officials, offering to write a new chapter for the Mary Washington Monument. In meetings with city staff, we have shared a vision for the historic site, one that entrusts Washington Heritage Museums with the responsibility for the monument and its associated features. Washington Heritage Museums owns, maintains, and publicly shares the history of the Mary Washington House, St. James House, Rising Sun Tavern, and the Hugh Mercer Apothecary Shop. Since 1900, guests from across the nation and around the world have visited the Mary Washington House, and later openings of the 3 additional 18th century museums broadened that narrative. Through the interpretation presented at our 4 museums, visitors learned the role that Fredericksburg played in the life of George Washington, his family, and his contemporaries. The vision for the Mary Washington Grave and Monument, Meditation Rock, the Eskridge Oak, Gordon Cemetery, and the Caretaker's Cottage is noble. Through improved access and increased interpretation, more visitors will have the opportunity to learn about the life of the mother of our first president and the tremendous efforts that were brought forth by so many people throughout history to honor her. Washington Heritage Museums plans a thorough interpretation of the site through the creation of a small self-guided museum in the Connecticut room of the Caretaker's Cottage. This museum would be open most weekdays when administrative staff will be present on site to look after the property. Washington Heritage Museums proposes to include information on Mary Washington's life and death, the remarkable history of the monument's creation, and how the deceased were memorialized in the 18th century. The museum could include historic photographs and excerpts from letters documenting the monument's creation and history. The involvement of many women's groups, including the 2 monument associations, as well as the Garden Club of Virginia, could be highlighted. Lastly, and possibly most importantly, artifacts pertaining to the monument's creation and dedication could be featured. These include medals, ribbons, and pieces of the first monument, which were hand-painted with images of the Mary Washington House. Washington Heritage Museums is truly honored to be considered as the next steward of the monument. The organization looks forward to developing the site to its fullest potential as a tourism asset in the city of Fredericksburg. Thank you.